Welcome back to the video lecture series on Python programming. We are going through the module on conditionals, iterators, and generators, and we have just covered the conditionals portion. So now coming to the iterators, again, as we already spoke about, iterators are nothing but the loops, right? We generally, sometimes in a program, need to repeat a particular sentence or a particular set of, not sentence, statement, multiple times, right? So when we need to do that, it's not a good programming practice to just copy paste the statements over and over again. So what we do is we basically put it in a part of a loop, right? So one standard looping mechanism, which is used, the keyword is being used, I think, by all programming language is the for loop or the for keyword, right? So what is the basic premise of for keyword? The for loop, where we basically mention that the for loop is going to execute till the variable, we name some variable, sometimes we say I, sometimes we give some other variable, sometimes we also give a particular series and track the elements of a series, right? So whatever where it is, so a variable is in the range, there is a range being specified, and the range is being specified in the parenthesis, right? And the parenthesis, the range is being specified by the start value, the end value, okay, and sometimes we also give an interval. So it's like a normal, the way we access the different range of values in a particular, say for example, list, right? It's the same way. Give a start, the stop or the end, and the interval or the steps basically, right? And then again the same way as the conditional statement, and that is there for every kind of a loop or a conditional statement in Python, where you have to give a indentation for the set of statements which need to be executed, right? Say for example, as a part of this loop, you need to execute all these statements, so that should be indented by one tab space, right? This is one very important point to be noted for Python programming, right? And another thing is, whenever you are closing on the particular statement for the for loop, there needs to be a colon. In the if loop also there was a colon, in the for loop also there is a colon, right? So this is the basic syntax for a particular variable being in range. Within brackets you specify the range. This interval is actually optional. If you don't give any value for the interval, by default the value which is going to be taken is 1, right? So interval, and then you just give the statements which need to be executed as a part of the for loop. Whenever you want to come back out of the loop, you will just indent back. Basically you come back to the original position and start writing the next set of statements after that, right? This is the basic format of the for loop. Okay, now just let's take a very simple few examples, right? Say for example, I want to execute this particular set of statements. Print 1 squared is equal to so and so, 2 squared is equal to so and so, 3 squared. So basically 1 to 6, I want to print the statement uh, 1 squared is so, 2 squared is so, like this, right? How can I use a for loop? Very easy. So basically we will need to set a particular variable, okay? And for that variable, we need to go from 1 to 6, right? Actually there will be 6 plus 1, because always remember, we have already talked about it, whatever upper value you are going to give, it's going to just subtract by 1, right? So if you want to use a upper value of 6, you have to specify a value 6 plus 1, which is 7 here, right? So 7, okay? So for I in range 1 comma 7, so it will start from 1 2 3 4 5 6, it will stop there just before 7, and then I just print a statement, print stri. So basically stri means it will convert the value of I is an integer, to a string, and then we will append a particular fixed string squared is equal to, and then again you are going to give a I squared, again you are going to convert it to a str. We have already seen in the data types module, right? When you are trying to print, and when you are printing it and you are trying to concatenate the strings to be printed, so when you are trying to concatenate an integer to a string, you have to first do a data type conversion to a string, and then only you can concatenate. Otherwise, there will be an error thrown by the program, right? A type error thrown by the program. So this is how you can just replace this set of six statements by just two statements in the for loop. That's it. Okay, this is very simple, isn't it? So now let's look at a little deceptive problem. Okay, and where you have to actually use your mind a bit, right? So what we are trying to do is we are trying to print a set of letters. Okay, print a set of letters. Say the letters are the letters from the word atmosphere. Okay, atmosphere is a set of words, and you want to print them in such a way that one letter is printed, then there is a comma, then another letter is printed, then another comma, like this. You carry on till you come to the second last, and after the last letter, obviously there is no comma because there is no more letter. So that is exactly what you print. From the word atmosphere, you take the letters, print one by one, separated by a comma. Just the last letter should not have a comma at the end because there is nothing after that. So if you want to use a for loop for that, how we are going to print it? Let's see. I can simply use, so basically this is what we want to print, that's what I told. So I can just use one of the two ways, right? Say for example, either I can use the statement for I in range 0 to the length of the word, and then I print the str word I, basically index 0, index 1, index 2 till index, the length of index to the total length will be ATMOSPHERE, so 10 letters. So it will go, the length will be 10. So the index value will be up to 10 minus 1, 9. And that's why I'm using till 10, because anyways it's going to take 10 minus 1, right? So each of the letters, and then I am going to end by a comma. I'm going to just concatenate by a comma, right? And that's how I am going to print it. But is it going to print it in the right way? Possibly not. Because why? It is done the entire thing correctly, no problem at all. But this last comma is not desirable, at all not desirable, right? So it is going to print, even for the last letter, it is going to print a comma. And that's why there is a problem here. This should not have been printed. If you want to write in a little different way, if you want to print the comma ahead of the letters, that is also fine. But in that case, the challenge which is happening is before the first letter, there is one comma which is appearing, which is also not right. The rest of the letters are perfectly fine, no problem about it. But here is what the problem is coming. Either a comma is coming, an extra comma is coming at the beginning, or an extra comma is coming at the end. This is not desirable at all. This is not what we want. So this is a problem which is like I'm trying to build a fence using certain posts. So I mean just putting a post, and then I'm putting a kind of a wire, and then I'm putting another post, right? So couple of posts, and within the post I'm putting in the wares, right? So like this I keep on doing, but the challenge is after the last post is being just posted, or put in, there should not be any more where to be attached to it. If I do that, it's a problem for me because there is no post after this, right? So how can I just put in the where here? I cannot put in the where. So what should I do? I should basically stop just before the last post is being put in. I should stop putting in the fence or the where, right? So I should stop before the first post. This is a analogous problem, a fence post problem, right? Now, how to do the problem in a right way, how to solve the problem in a right way. What we can do is either the first or the last post can be taken out, right? In the fence post solution. So same way, what we do here is we do the entire set of word printing, right? And when we are using the for loop, we are putting the comma first and then the word, but the word starts from the second word, not from the first word. First word is being printed before the for loop. So if I do that before the for loop, I start with the first word and then I put in 1 comma 1 word, 1 comma 1 word, 1 comma 1 word. I am perfectly fine. That is one approach to do it. What can be the other approach? Just think about it. Yeah, you are right. So either this we can do, or I can put in the word and then I can put in the comma, okay, and then I do it till the second last word, and the last word I print after coming out of the for loop. So the last word I do not keep within the for loop. So what happens is word, comma, word, comma, word, comma, it continues till the end. Just before the last word, it ends with a comma, and then the last word I put in beyond the for loop. So that is the other solution which I give. So that I want to do as the print the last word as a separate print statement outside the for loop. So this is the correct way. So whenever I'm using a for loop, I need to be very much mindful about the problem in hand. And based on the problem in hand, I need to use the pattern that I want to use within the part of the for loop. Okay, if certain thing needs to be avoided, like here, should not post, should not use the fence after the last post. So that way we have to avoid the last post. We have to keep it outside the for loop so that it is not followed by another fence, right? So this is how we have to deal with this kind of a problem. Now, there is one more type of a loop, and we also know about it in other programming constructs also. There is something of this sort. This is the while loop. It also creates a loop which goes on and creates a set of executable statements which is repeated multiple times. But there is a difference. The for loop was a definite loop. So when I know that exactly how many times I have to iterate, right? If I know that I have to iterate for 5 times or till the number of the letters in the word, right? Then I can use the for loop when there is a definiteness in terms of the number of iterations to be taken. But if that is not definite, how many number of times the loop has to iterate, then we have to use the indefinite loop, which is implemented by the while loop, right? It keeps on executing a set of statements till the point of time a specific trigger is being given to the while loop that now you need to come out of the loop. Otherwise, it will keep on doing the executing the sentences within the for loop, or while loop, right? How is the construct? In the same way? So you have a while, and then just like a if condition, you have to give a test. So basically it's a precondition, right? So whenever this precondition is being satisfied, it goes into the while loop block and executes the set of statements. And again, the statements are always indented by a tab space. Whenever this particular precondition is not satisfied, it is false, it simply breaks out of the while loop and it comes to the next set of statements which are there beyond the while loop, right? So this precondition which is given as a test condition is extremely important. Whenever it is satisfied, it will execute the statements in the indented block. Whenever it is not satisfied, it will come out and start executing the next set of statements which are not in the indented block. An example is given here, num1. So while num is less than is equal to is less than equal to 200, I am going to keep on doing this print statements. And what I do is, as a part of the statements, I just multiply whatever is the content. So first time when I'm entering the loop, 1 into 2, 2. So next time 2 into 2, 4. Next time 4 into 2, 8. Like this, it will just keep on calculating the multiples of 2 till the point of time. So 128 into 2 is 256. It comes back to the while condition. It sees that it is not less than equal to 256. So it is coming out. It is going to come out of this while loop. So it will just print till this point. So this is one way. There is one other way to kind of end a while loop, which is called a sentinel statement, right? A sentinel value. So some kind of a user input is being taken. So each time user input is being taken, unless a particular value is being provided, and that value is called a sentinel value, means it indicates the end of loop, a sentinel value. So whenever that is being given, it basically means it has to come out of the loop. Say for example, I want to build a particular loop where the user input can give integers, but whenever it gives a particular, say, word, say quit, it will quit from the loop, right? So this is how I can build a while loop using a sentinel value. Sentinel value means a value which indicates the loop break, right? So here is how I can do it. Say for example, I start with a response variable, and it will check when the response variable is not is equal to quit. Whenever it will be equal to quit, it will come out. But when it is not equal to quit, some other input is being given, or some other response value is being encountered, it will simply keep on executing the loop. So for the first time, type a word or quit to exit. Okay. So say for example, you are putting in a word. So you are just checking the number of letters in the word, and you are going to type the total number you have typed a total of so many characters. Say for example, I enter some variable, say some string, say Amit. Okay, so it will take Amit as an input. How many letters are there? There are 4 letters. So it will print you typed a total of 4 characters, right? So that's how it is going to do. So when I want to stop it, when I don't want to give any further input to it, I'll just give as an input quit. So what will it do? It will come back to the beginning of the while loop, and it will match with the response. It will see whether it is a value quit or not. It is actually not, is equal to quit. So this particular check, it will get a false, right? It will get a false. So whenever it gets a false, it will come out of this loop, right? So this is how we can basically build a while loop which will break based on a sentinel character, whether it encounters a sentinel value, right? And this is how you can kind of create a definite loop using a for loop, and indefinite loop using a while loop. Whenever the number of iterations are known, you can create a for loop. Whenever the number of iterations are not known beforehand, you should create a while loop, right? This is how we can build the iterators or the loops. There are certain problems we can uh, discuss about. Okay, basically, one problem is, say for example, I want to write a program which will print all such numbers which are divisible by 7, but not a multiple of 5, and the number ranges between 2000 and 3200, both of the numbers being included. So if you want to write them as a set of comma separated integers, right? How can I do that? So this is one exercise you can try out yourself, right? And I just show you the solution, what it is going to be, so that in case you want to check whether you have done it right or not, you can do it. So you can just set a value 2000 as a starting value, and then you can give a while loop and check whether while is actually less than, so both numbers included, so it should be less than equal to 3200, not less than 3200. And what you are doing is, within the while loop you are keeping a conditional block. If I modulo 7, what is the modulo? It will says what is the remainder. So if it is exactly divisible by 7, so if it is a modulo of 7 is exactly is equal to 0, so this is one thing I'm going to check. And it is not divisible by 5, this is also something I'm going to check. In only that case I'm going to print the I, and every time I'm going to do a I is equal to I plus 1 to move to the next integer, right? And this way I can print all the values between 2000 and 3200 which are divisible by 7 but not divisible by 5. Like this, you can also try certain patterns, like say for example you use a nested loop and try to build a pattern like this one, dot 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 and then 1. So there will be 4 elements altogether in the first line, then 3 elements, sorry, 3 dots and 2, then 2 dots and 3, and then 1 dot and 4, and then just 5. So it's just a kind of a shrinking of the number of elements, and you will start from 1, then go to 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Okay, and the remaining spaces are going to be just dots, right? So this is one pattern you may try. You may also try the pattern like this. Try to print a pattern like this using a nested for loop or a nested loop. Okay, for or while, I leave it up to you. Okay, a little, so these are the solutions. You can just think about the solutions yourself, and in case you are able to do it or you want to cross check, you can just see this solution like this. The format that we got in the second thing, the second format, you can use this part of the code, right? So this is the second, a little more complex format, right, where you have a format like this and then an outer boundary like this. So just try out yourself. This is not a very easy program to do, but you can use the nested while loops to print this kind of a format, right? So try out yourself. And the solutions are given in case just you want to do a cross check of it. Okay, now another very important two things, two keywords, the break and the continue keywords. Say for example, I have a while loop or a for loop, okay? And based on a particular condition, if condition, if I just want to exit the while loop or the for loop, okay, I just simply want to exit, mind it. I don't want to continue in the loop at all. Then I can use the break statement. This break statement is for doing that only. Okay, when I want to break out of a while loop or a for loop. Okay, and then so this is a break statement in both cases. Then when I want to break from that particular iteration, but I don't want to break out of the while loop or the for loop, I just want to break out that iteration and I want to come back to the while loop again. So remember, in one case you are coming out of the while loop or out of the for loop. In the other case, you are coming back to the while loop or you are coming back to the for loop. Just you are skipping that particular iteration. In that case, I'm going to use the continue statement. I am going to use the continue statement. Both cases I'm using the conditionals, right? The if condition to check whether the condition is being satisfied or not. But in one case, you are going to use the break statement. In the other case, you are going to use the continue statement. Break means you want to break out of the loop. Continue means you want to break out of that iteration and you want to continue the loop. Just want to come out of that iteration. A small example will help you understand what I want to mean here. So, say for example, I want to write the square root of a number. I want to print the square root of the number. Only when I encounter a 0, that indicates that I want to break out of the loop. Okay, and when there is a negative number, I want to skip. I don't want to, I cannot do a square root of a negative number. It's going to be an imaginary number, right? So I don't want to print that. And when there is a 0, I mean that it's a break out of the loop. So if I want to create like this, so see, I just create a while loop, a infinitely running while loop, and whenever I want to break out the loop, I want to give a 0 as an input, and whenever I get a 0 as an input, I write a break. That means I want to break out of this while loop. Whenever there is a negative, whenever the input number is 0, then I just print that square root of negative number is not possible, and I just give a continue. That means it will come back to the beginning of the loop again. And when I'm going to get proper number, a proper non-negative value, non-zero value, I will print the square root by using the np dot. Again, I can also use the sqrt, the default Python function. Here I have used the numpy library function. What is numpy library? We will cover later on. Just see that I'm calculating the square root of the number, and I'm just giving here as a parameter of the print statement, right? So here I'm using both the break statement. Whenever there is a 0, I'm breaking, and I'm using the continue statement. Whenever there is a negative, I'm just seeking another input. I'm not breaking out of the loop. I'm just breaking out of that iteration and seeking another input. And when there is a non-negative and non-zero value, I'm just printing the square root of it, right? This is a very important. These are important keywords, the break and the continue keywords. So another very important keyword which is being used very frequently, the pass keyword. What is a pass keyword? Basically, when the program encounters a pass keyword, it knows that it doesn't have to do anything. Okay, it is basically a non-executable thing. So in that case, you may ask the question, then why do we put this pass? Answer is, say for example, I need to write certain statements as a part of the for loop. But at this moment, I don't have exactly what particular statements that specification is not available with me at the moment. I just want to have the framework for the programming ready. A framework without any particular executable program or executable statement. Then what do I do? If I just give something of this sort, right? A print statement, a normal, so what should I say? A normal comment statement. If you try to execute, you just try it out. You will see that you are going to get a error. Okay, because it is expecting that you are going to give some kind of an executable statement and you are not giving anything. You are just giving a comment line, which is not an executable statement. So it will throw an error. To avoid that, you can use the pass keyword, which is also going to indicate that nothing needs to be executed. Just you have to give a small indication that nothing is going to be executed here. Okay, this is the pass keyword for you. Okay, so that is all about the iterators, right? So next we are going to cover the generators. We'll come back, and that's a very small portion. We'll come back and cover the generators in Python, right? So please stay tuned.